In the shadows of myth and legend, there lies a figure of rebellion, desire, and unyielding power. Her name is Lilith, goddess, demoness, mother of monsters, and first feminist. From ancient times to modern-day resistance movements, Lilith has ignited the flames of revolution for those seeking freedom from the chains of oppression. Across the centuries, her legend has fueled a fire deep within the hearts of women, queer communities, and all those who resist the forces that would keep us silent. Today we invoke her name and her spirit once more, for there is work to be done. Lilith's story is the myth that refuses to die. She was cast out of the earliest religious narratives, vilified for daring to defy the patriarchal order, but her name persists, whispering through history. She is more than just a figure of mythology. Lilith has become a symbol of defiance, representing movements that challenge the suppression of women's voices and reclaim autonomy over our bodies and our lives. The story of Lilith begins in ancient Mesopotamia, where she first appears in the lore of the goddess Inanna as part of the Sumerian mythos. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, Lilith resides in the sacred tree of Inanna, a wild creature that embodies chaos and autonomy. She is not yet the demoness we know from later texts. In those early myths, she is a symbol of the untamed, of primal female power, a power that both fascinates and terrifies. Lilith was linked to the forces of nature and fertility, sometimes as a storm goddess, other times as a figure representing fertility and sexual freedom. As civilization began to shift from matriarchal structures to patriarchal ones, her story, like so many others, was altered, transformed into something more sinister. In the ancient Hebrew tradition, Lilith is reimagined. Here she becomes the first wife of Adam in the alphabet of Ben Sira, an apocryphal text that presents an alternative creation myth. Lilith refuses to submit to Adam's authority, demanding equality and the freedom to make her own choices. When denied, she chooses exile rather than subjugation, leaving the Garden of Eden and becoming a figure of darkness, seduction, and rebellion. In this retelling, Lilith becomes the embodiment of everything women are taught to fear in themselves: independence, sexual power, and refusal to obey. The patriarchy could not contain her, so it demonized her. Lilith was vilified as a temptress, a baby-snatching demoness, the wife of Satan himself. But beneath this demonic veneer, her story remained a tale of defiance and autonomy. Lilith's rebellion resonates deeply with the struggles women face to this day: the fight for equality, the right to self-determination, and the rejection of societal expectations that keep us in subservient roles. Despite attempts to erase her, Lilith continued to haunt the imagination of artists, poets, and musicians throughout the centuries. The Victorians particularly were obsessed with Lilith as a figure of dangerous beauty. Dante Gabriel Rossetti painted her as a femme fatale with flowing hair that ensnared men in her web of seduction, while in literature, poets like Goethe and Faust portrayed her as a powerful, mystical figure. In music, Lilith appears again and again as a muse of rebellion and mystery. In the 1990s, the Lilith Fair Music Festival was created as a celebration of women in music, reclaiming her legacy from a patriarchal past and using it as a banner of empowerment. Her name, once an insult, became a rallying cry for women's voices in the arts. Lilith's presence in creative works is a testament to her enduring power as a symbol of liberation. For artists, she is both muse and rebel goddess, a figure that embodies the refusal to be silenced, the insistence on autonomy, and the fierce determination to live freely. Right now, we find ourselves in the transformative season of Black Moon Lilith in Libra, a cosmic alignment that calls forth a deep, untamed energy that is crucial for the battles ahead. Running through March 2025, this astrological season activates Lilith's rebellious force within the realm of relationships, justice, and collective balance. Libra is the sign of harmony and fairness, a place where diplomacy reigns, but when Lilith steps into this space, she disrupts the status quo, demanding not superficial peace, but true equality and accountability. Black Moon Lilith in Libra speaks to the imbalance we are seeing in the world today, the widening inequality between the sexes, the ongoing assault on women's rights, and the unjust systems that continue to value hierarchy over equity. In this placement, Lilith's energy insists that we confront the structures that claim to promote fairness while secretly upholding patriarchal dominance. This is no longer a time for quiet compromise or playing nice. Libra's scales are tipping, and Lilith is here to demand justice, not just for individuals, but for entire communities, for every woman who's ever been silenced, erased, or minimized. Libra doesn't just carry the scales of justice, she also wields a sword. Libra is traditionally associated with partnerships and relationships, and under Black Moon Lilith's influence, we are being called to rethink and renegotiate the dynamics of power in those spaces. This energy pushes us to question where we have accepted inequality, where we have compromised too much in our personal relationships, in our workplaces, and in our societies. Lilith in Libra says, no fucking more. In this moment, Lilith teaches us to channel the sharp, fierce side of justice, the sword. She encourages us to become disruptors where necessary, to demand accountability in every space we occupy. Lilith's presence in Libra is about speaking uncomfortable truths, making difficult decisions, and cutting ties with anything that perpetuates inequality. But it's not just about tearing down what is broken. Black Moon Lilith in Libra also gives us the strength to build something better. Libra is about balance, and Lilith's energy here can help us manifest new relationships, new systems, and new forms of leadership based on equity, mutual respect, and empowerment for all. This is why Lilith's energy is so essential right now. We are at a tipping point, socially, politically, and spiritually. The fight for reproductive rights, for gender equality, for racial justice, and for economic equity are all converging at this moment. With Black Moon Lilith in Libra, we have the cosmic force we need to challenge oppressive systems, rewrite societal contracts, and rebuild a more just world. Lilith in Libra asks us to reject false peace and polite silence. Instead, we must demand real, lasting change. This is the energy we need to tap into now more than ever. The scales of justice are within our grasp. Let us tip them in favor of freedom, equality, and the untamed power of Lilith. And so we call upon her. We invoke Lilith, goddess of the night, mother of shadows, first rebel and last word. With these words, we ask her to stand beside us in our battle for justice, to lend us her strength as we fight for equality and freedom. Lilith, we summon you from the wilderness, from the places where we have been cast out, from the realms of forgotten voices and broken chains. Be with us now in our sacred defiance. Guide our hands as we tear down the walls. Strengthen our hearts as we hex the systems that would keep us silent. Come forth, Lilith, and breathe your fire into our spirits. Help us embrace our power. Help us refuse submission. Help us rise wild, untamed, and free. Lilith's energy is not just a myth, it is a living force within each of us. Today, as we witness attacks on women's rights, we must channel her defiance. Lilith teaches us that we must not wait for permission to be free. We must take it. In this moment, we have the power to rise. We have the power to hex the patriarchy into smithereens. The fight for bodily autonomy, for equal pay, for our voices to be heard, it is a fight that belongs to all of us. And with Lilith by our sides, we are unstoppable. Now is the time to act. Vote for women's rights, vote for equality, stand with those who resist, with those who rebel, with those who will no longer be silenced. Lilith did not wait for permission, and neither will we. We are the daughters of Lilith, the ones who will not bow. Together we rise, and may Lilith's wild, untamable spirit guide us to victory.